Hi everyone, I'm Denise Pattison. I'm your instructor this semester. I am been teaching at Beckfield for almost 3 years now. Oh boy, I think 3 years. When did I graduate from school? I don't remember anymore. That's how tired I am. I'm just kidding. About 3 years. I've been teaching at Beckfield. I am a family nurse practitioner. I work in the Cincinnati Health Department, so I work in public health, and I'm pretty much an expert in public health. I am currently working on my doctorate at the University of Cincinnati, and I'm also getting a postmaster's certificate in education just because I've been teaching for 2 years and I should get a certificate to back that up a little bit. But I love teaching and I love working with BS Ed students because you guys have great experience, and I can't wait to get to know you guys a little more. So, I am in primary care and we, in population health, we work a lot on population management. So I'm going to go over the course descriptions, a few of the assignments, and our clinical aspects of class. So as you can see, here is the syllabus. Let me get my little pointer. And we are in the term winter 2017. It's a 4 credit hour course. It's distance. Obviously, we're doing this online. And this is also a capstone course. You're going to be completing some clinical hours. So the course objectives, we're here to model health promotion, health maintenance, education, disease prevention, and coordination of care for individuals, families, groups, and communities. We're going to look at what epidemiology means, the identification of populations at risk, exploring rural, suburban, and urban environments, and talking about health evaluation in various communities, and how that is going to affect the way we care for certain communities. Application of community and public health theory and principles, the student's going to explore and implement roles. The nurse is the teacher, collaborator, advocate, investigator, research, and direct care provider. Public health is kind of the doorway to beyond nursing, so not just tasks in the hospital, but going into a lot more of the nursing aspect that kind of gets overlooked when we talk about nursing in the media or people's expectations in nurses. So nurses are actually really, our curriculum is ingrained in science and research, especially epidemiology, so studying populations and its effect on health and vice versa. So the learning objective, you're going to describe the structure and function of the healthcare delivery system in providing population-based care on international, national, state, and local level. Analyze the impact of environmental genetics, lifestyle, and economics of the health of population. We're talking about Healthy People 2020. Integrate population-focused nursing, public health concepts, and principles of epidemiology in communicable disease, chronic disease, and disease prevention. We're going to describe a variety of population-based nursing roles, current issues that affect nursing practice and population-focused care. You guys are going to learn how to conduct a geographical-based community assessment, and that's called the windshield survey, and it's really important that you know how to do that. Discuss these technology and information, so kind of bringing in some informatics and how we use it in public health, and then discussing the response system and nursing management strategy for disasters. So disaster training is important. We don't do it enough in any communities. It's a pain. I remember doing it inpatient. It was awful. But it's really important in case there is a disaster. So here are nursing core values. They're the same as they've always been. Student-centered learning, professionalism, safety, patient-centered care, patient education, leadership, teamwork and collaboration, informatics, quality improvement, evidence-based practice. All right, so we're going to be using Stanhope and Lancaster's Foundation of Nursing in the Community. And this is a really good book, and I actually use this at my master's level. I think it is very easy to read, but also very comprehensive. And then, of course, we're going to be reading our Healthy People 2020 often, so I cited that here. I also recommend for you guys to look into getting an APA book. And let me get that for you guys. 1 second. I'll show you. So this is the APA. This is the 6th edition. Yeah. I think it's the most recent edition. If you're not going to use this, you have to use OWL Purdue. I'm really picky about APA citations and formatting, just because there's a lot of people here who express their desire to go get their master's. And if you want to get published and get your master's, you need to know how to write. You need how to understand how not to plagiarize, how to paraphrase properly, how to integrate research properly into your papers, and you should be able to do this at a baccalaureate level. So I'm really strict on writing. If you are listening to this, and I hope you are, and you think, oh my gosh, I'm terrible at writing, start getting acquainted with the Learn Center. I'm going to give you guys their information, and you know, really pay attention to how you integrate evidence, but you have to integrate research into your writing. Um, and you know, I'm not going to ding you guys on periods and commas and italics, but I am going to ding you on properly integrating and giving credit when credit's due. For the most part, citations are going to be a big part of what you're writing because this is all new information to you and you're not experts in this field. So any claims you make, like nurses, nursing burnout is increased with poor staffing. Okay, well, that's an expert opinion, so it needs to be cited. Things like that. So please get ready with your resources for APA. Don't just guess. Do not use a generator. If you use the word generator, it is always wrong, and I will count you off. And it frustrates me beyond no end because I can't correct it within your paper and give you feedback. So please, please, please. The other thing too, copying and pasting. I get this all the time. People leave their hyperlink in, they don't change the text. I mean, it's so obvious when people are copying and pasting, and then they add a citation. That is still, that's not good form. Obviously, it's not plagiarism because you're citing it, but first of all, you have to cite it correctly. And then if I see that, it frustrates me to no end. So please don't do it because then I'm going to be more strict on how I grade all your other stuff. So if you have questions about writing, you need to make appointments with me in my office hours. You can ask other students. I will sit there and go over stuff with you over and over until you get it. I'm happy to help you. But I really want you guys to learn to be good writers, especially if any of you have even an inclination that you want to move on in your education. You're going to have to be able to write well, or you won't make it through your master's, at least not a good master's program. Okay, so methodology. The method of study for this course is going to include electronic presentations, forum discussions, which is our biggest way of interacting with one another, clinical observation, problem solving, computer lab simulations, small groups, case studies. It could be a variety of that. So we are on a 7-point grading scale. 93 to 100 is A, 85 to 92, 78 to 84. Anything below 78 is unsatisfactory. And per the college's policy, we do not round up. We don't round on grades. So there's ways that you can constantly check your grades, and then you can always email me too. Clinical is pass-fail basis, but you have to pass it in order to complete this class. So make sure you complete your clinical work, and you can't say, oh, I didn't find a group, or it's your job to find me my clinical site, because it's not how it works. I will happily give you guys suggestions, but I can't stay on the phone calling places for you. But I have never not had someone find a place. It's just a matter of, you know, getting out there and looking. And then attendance policy. So you guys know that you have to trigger. Your trigger is due the Thursday of when class starts. So obviously the week 1 starts on a Monday, and then we have till Tuesday to trigger. So that means, I'm sorry, Thursday trigger. So Monday the 9th, January 9th, you're going to trigger, and then that Thursday on the 12th, you need to trigger again. What does trigger mean? I'm sorry, you don't have to trigger Monday the 9th. That's when school starts. The 12th you have to trigger, and that's when you have to post your first forum or do something meaningful, a meaningful trigger, turning something in, posting on a forum, responding to somebody, completing a quiz. You can't just click in the course. And then so all your forum posts are due Thursday of the new class, and then your response is due that Sunday. All assignments will be due the Sunday after class. So for example, if you had we have something due week 2. Week 2 starts, Week 2 starts January 12th. then you will not need to turn it in until January 15th by 11:55 p.m. So after the week ends, or I'm sorry, is due week 2. So when week 2 ends, and week 2 ends on the 19th, but you can have until that Sunday. And the due dates are on the course assignment as well. Okay. If you do not trigger within, I think it's 2 days or 2 class periods, then you will be dropped out. So make sure that you trigger. Okay, makeup policy. So that says it's up to the instructor. So this instructor, Denise Pattison, I require 48 hours notice prior to a due date via email communication if something's going to be late. Obviously, if there's an emergency, like your house caught on fire, which I hope never does, and you were not able to complete an assignment, you just have to tell me within 24 hours of the due date. And documentation may be requested. So if you're like, Denise, I went to the hospital and I got my appendix out, I may ask you for a doctor's note. I am really flexible. I work with everybody. I mean, you can ask any student who's come by. If you have a military commitment, just give me your dates ahead of time. If you're like, Denise, I know for a fact that week 4, I can't get out of the weekend before to turn in my final assignment. I'm going to need till week 5. If you let me know ahead of time, even if it's at the beginning of the semester, I'm going to give you the extension. But I will not give you an extension if you don't ask me on time. Obviously, if it's emergency, I will work with you. So people will tell me 2 weeks later, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't turn something in from week 1. Do I still have time? And what you have to understand is for me to properly grade stuff, I need time to grade it. So please just be mindful and respectful of my time and your time. And just let me know ahead of time. I will always work with you. Always, always, always. I will give you incompletes if you need it to finish the semester, but you have to let me know on time because I cannot do anything last minute. Academic integrity. Okay, here's the deal, guys. There has been a lot of copying and pasting that I've seen recently, and I get very frustrated with that because I think it's a sign of disrespect to the work that they're quoting from, and then a disrespect for me. I get things are accidental, and so I try really hard to work with you guys. But if you are unsure, you need to email me, or you need to go to the Writing Center. If you are paraphrasing something, you still have to quote it, okay? You still have to cite it within the text. And if you read professional writing, you're going to see that most of the paper is, cited in some way. So if I see hyperlinks embedded, I'm going to go ahead and just give you a 0 because when I see a hyperlink, it's because you copy and pasted, and it's so frustrating. Please, please, please just learn how to cite things and how to research. This is part of having a BSN. This is part of moving on into scholarship in nursing. And if you say, oh, I never want to write papers, that's great. That's absolutely great. But you better expect never to move on past bedside nursing. And that's fine. I mean, bedside nursing is awesome. But even then in bedside, they have you publish. So please, 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 if you have problems, you go to the Learning Center, you go to the Writing Center, you go to the library, you talk to me, okay? So when things are accidental, I always give people an extra try with some points deducted. If it's pretty blatant, or if you have a pattern of a had you in class before and you've copied and pasted before, it will be an automatic 0. Here is the information here. Learning Assistant Center. They're so great. They help with writing. They help with formatting. They could do it all online. And I want you to get with them. And you can even just email them your stuff and they will edit it for you. So, it's a win-win. I don't understand why people don't use it. I used it all the time in my master's. Now I'm getting my doctorate and I still use the Writing Center for them to look at my grammar. So clinical information. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about clinical. You are going to shadow community health nurse in the community health setting. So community health setting is outside the hospital. It's within the community. So when you guys ask me if you can do outpatient GI, that is not community health. It needs to be in a public health setting that specifies in the prevention that is population health. So primary, secondary, tertiary prevention. Whether it be working with a vaccine nurse, whether it be working with mother-baby, home health, helping people get signed up for their mammograms. School health is really important. At the jails, that's one. I'm a public health nurse practitioner. I have a lot of contacts, so if you can't tell me, you haven't tried if you don't ask me. Um, and I can't set up people's clinical sites just because I wish I just don't have the time, but I will get you very well connected. So I'm trying to think of examples of what people did. Some people worked in outpatient, so not outpatient since connected to a hospital, but helped with outpatient rehab and substance abuse. That is a problem in population health. A lot of people went and did home health, which is really cool. A lot of people shadowed school nurses. They have to be, they have to meet the criteria, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit when we go through the course wall. All right. So here is all the breakdown of the week, and I'm going to go through that with you right now. All right, guys, so here's the course wall. It looks a little funky because of the edit. Let me turn my editing off so it looks a little prettier. All right, so here's the syllabus. Let me get my pointer. All right, here is the syllabus, okay, which we just talked about. Where's that? This is the news forum. Okay, so what happens with the news forum? All right, so here I talk about, this is where I post updates, extra credit opportunities. This is your way, this is how I communicate. So make sure you check the news forum daily. Welcome, course bio, instructor expectations, just goes a little deeper into who I am and what I expect with you. Here are my office hours. So this is my cell phone, 513-293-3142. And my office hours are Wednesday 7 to 9 p.m. and then Saturday 9 to 11 p.m. a.m. I'm supposed to just put office hours. You guys can text me anytime you want. I don't care. Text me, call me, whatever. Anytime, 24/7. Even if it's because you sent me an email and you feel like I'm not answering fast enough, just text me and say, Denise, I sent you an email. Can you look it up? All right, library information. You need to learn how to use the library. Why? Because that's where you're going to get all your evidence, and you need to learn how to do it. So in these sections here, there are tutorials on how to pull articles. And if you have trouble with that, you can connect with the library. Contact the librarian. They will help you pull proper articles, okay? I do not want Wikipedia. I do not want websites that aren't, I want journal articles for the most part, okay? Obviously, some websites you're going to have to use as support, but when I ask for 4 journal articles, I want 4 journal articles. I do not accept the class text. There's some APA formatting tips on here. All right, so there's some APA formatting tips here. All right, so now we're going to talk about the clinical information. All right, so first things first, clinical packet. Let's pull it up. Do you hear Scooby-Doo in the background? That's my kitten. All right. Hi, yay. Okay, nursing 335, population focused nursing. All right, it has to be with an RN that has, at the minimum, a bachelor's or a master's, okay? Master's degree is preferred. It cannot be someone working on their bachelor's. They must have their bachelor's or their master's. And they have to be employed in the leadership position. They have to be employed in population health. Sorry, this should say population health. Okay. So it obviously has to be in the area that we want to talk about. And the preceptor has to have critical thinking skills. They have to be a leader in their area. They have to obviously have good communication skills and be able to give you positive and negative feedback and be professional, okay? All right, so this preceptor qualification form needs to be filled out and turned into me prior to starting clinical. If you don't, then I'm not counting those hours that you completed before this is turned into me. So please, please, please turn it into me before you start your clinical. All right, so the pages that are due are going to be the preceptor qualification form, and that's it, or preceptor qualification form and the confidentiality form and the release of liability. Those three have to be turned into me before you start, okay? And I have to give approval on your site because I would hate for you guys to go and do something that's not community health and then you have to redo your hours. Then at the end of the semester, oops, I'm so sorry, I'm looking at something funny. At the end of the semester, this is the preceptor guidelines that shows you that, you know, it's the right, this also has to be turned in. At the end of it, your preceptor is going to grade you and sign off on your hours. The journal requirement and rubrics are also up on the wall, but this is for you to talk about your time. You need to have 4 clinical visits, okay, that are 12 hours total. Preferably 4 3-hour visits, but if you need to split it up like 8, 2, 1, and 1, as long as you equal 12, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on, let me just make sure I'm not telling you guys the wrong thing. Because some classes they change the hours and the other classes they don't. I teach so many of these classes. Yeah, 12 hours. Okay, cool. Just making sure I didn't want to steer you guys the wrong way. So they're going to sign off on all this stuff. So school, public health care, community agency, home health setting. Okay. 12 hours. You must do it in 4 consecutive weeks, and you have to keep a reflective journal. That's the other thing too. Really, I mean, I don't want you guys going all in 4 days in a row. I mean, if you have to, you have to. They haven't stamped down on that too much. But if you have to do it like in a shorter period, over less than 4 weeks, you have to get my approval. All right, so let me show you where everything is due. And so all this packet has to be filled out and also turned into me at the end. So the first 7 pages have to be turned in with the liability and confidentiality at the beginning, and then this whole packet will also be turned into me at the very end. And it must be completed and emailed to me because I have to keep a record and we turn it in to our accrediting body. Okay. So here's the community health journals where you will turn them in. They're all due by week 5. And so make sure you do that. And then the next piece, we're just quickly going to talk about the assignments. So assignment 1, which is due at week 2. This is the role of public health nurse, and you're going to research one of the roles of a public health nurse, especially the one that you'll be observing. So if you say you want to come and observe the role of a nurse, family nurse practitioner in public health, you're going to research that role. You have to use 3 journal articles. Journal articles, that means I will not let you include your textbook. And they have to be less than 5 years old, and it has to be implemented in what they're doing. So if you're talking about school health nursing, find some research articles or other articles that are peer reviewed and in a reliable publication to talk about what you're doing. And I want APA reference and formatting, okay? Please be professional in your writing. Oh, we'll look here really quick at something. Last modified. Cool. All right. And then assignment 2 is the community assessment. That's the windshield assessment. You're going to look in your text on how that was done, but make sure that you do it. And you better, I also want you to use 4 journal articles, so make sure you get those journal articles to support what you're talking about, okay? All right. So that is it for this. Also, be on the lookout. I'm going to always try and complete a mini version of the assignments and show you how I expect the work to look. Okay? So again, feel free to email me, call me, text me, and I'm excited about this semester.